Hey, welcome to today's video, the subject of which is circle of fourths practice. Is it necessary? Is it an essential thing that should be part of your practice routine? At this point you might be asking, what is circle of fourths practice? What is the circle of fourths? Well, take the circle of fifths, here it is on the screen. We start at 12 o'clock, there it is C. Now it's called the circle of fifths because start at 12 o'clock at C, if you go one clockwise you get to G. And that's a fifth away from C, because if you take a C scale, that goes C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if people practice with the circle of fifths and they go clockwise, then you're moving in fifths. But if we go counterclockwise, if we go the other way, it's called the circle of fourths, which is how jazz musicians tend to use the circle. And it's called the circle of fourths. Why? Because we're moving in fourths instead of fifths. C to F is a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And F to B flat is a fourth, and so on. It keeps going around that way. So if you go clockwise, you keep moving in fifths. C to G is a fifth. G to D is a fifth. D to A is a fifth, and so on. If you go counterclockwise, C to F is a fourth, F to B flat is a fourth, and so on until you get back to C. And how this works, you take a musical construct of some description like an arpeggio, and you work it around the circle of fourths. So if I say I did major 7 arpeggios, I'd go C, F, B flat, E flat, and so on. And I'd keep going round finding my arpeggios until I get back round to C. We'll explain why that's a good idea to do in a moment. Now, other things I could do with this, I could take chords around the circle of fifths, so I could be like, right, I'm going to practice my minor 7 chords all around the circle. So I'm going to go C minor 7, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat minor 7, A flat minor 7, and so on. I could work scales around, take the major scale, C, F, B flat, E flat, and so on. I could take a lick around, got this lick in C, F, B flat, and so on. I could work a chord progression around the circle, so I could do 2 5 1s, C, F, B flat, so on. Let's think about the benefits of doing this first. Firstly, I think it's a really good test of how well you know the fretboard. Like if you're going to try and play your arpeggios, your scales, your chord progressions in every key essentially, which is what the circle of fourths enables you to do, then it's going to really test how well you know where all those chords are, where those arpeggios and things are on the fretboard. So it's a good fretboard workout, and you can do it at a time, but you can also do it in time to a metronome to put yourself under pressure to find these things. Another benefit to this kind of practice is songs often move in fourths in the sense that chords like to go that way. Not obviously always, but say for instance, how many times have you played a C chord to an F chord, whether it's a major chord, minor chord, just think of a blues in C, it goes C to F. Many songs have movements in fourths. It's not obviously exclusive, but it's very common, so you can think of it as a smart way to practice. And my next benefit, it leaves no stone unturned. And by this I mean, you might know your C major 7 arpeggio, your F major 7 arpeggio, but do you know your G flat major 7 arpeggio? And so on, because you need to be able to do everything in every key, I think. And it helps you get to that completeness of information. You've got your major 7s down wherever, in every key, you can find them easily. And another benefit for me, it's just a good way to structure your committing of information to memory. It's like a method you can use. Oh, what should I do this? Oh, let's go around the circle of fourths. I can think of people I work with when gigging, they use it as a warm-up, just to get their fingers going. Right, I'm just going to take an arpeggio all the way around the circle of fourths. Personally, I find it a fun sort of challenge, but I can see why others might find it a bit dull, a bit boring, but it's the kind of thing I enjoy doing. And I can see how it helps my understanding of the instrument, my ear and technique. And that sense of it's a goal to work towards. Can you do that all the way around? Can you find your minor 7 chords in every possible way? Now, some of the drawbacks to this approach is it's an exercise, right? Exercises are often critiqued for not being very musical, but who's to say you can't play these things musically if you're taking scales around? You could practice them dynamically or with techniques. You can still make exercises musical. I think exercises are fine as long as they're part of a balanced practice routine in which music making is central. You can't just play exercises for an hour. Now, a lot of people critique exercises for being, lacking musicality. So, maybe not being as potentially useful as doing other things which could be more musical. But I often find these kind of people have done all these exercises, and somehow or another they have contributed, I think, to where they are today. And I think some of these things are necessary steps to take along the way towards being as musical as you can be. At the end of the day, if someone doesn't know their chord shapes, if someone doesn't know their scales or their arpeggios, it's difficult to be creative and musical with something you don't know securely. And one way to get something down securely is things like this. The other thing I would say is practicing moving and fourth is not the only way. There'd be sensible other moves to make in the way you practice different things, and I'll talk about a couple of those now briefly. Other moves, say if I take this G triad, other ways you could practice something is up in tones. Wouldn't give you everything because of the way it works out, but you can do that. Semitones, quite good, and obviously easy to do with that kind of shape. You could make it harder for ourselves. Another good one to practice, up in thirds, so G to B. Up in minor thirds, G to B flat. Up in tritones, so G to D flat. Quite cool. And I think if you wanted to explore some of these things a bit more, something great to be able to do is know your 2-5-1 in every key, so I'll put my video up on the screen in relation to that. And maybe my vlog I did on my own practice, I think I called it practice or something like that. Anyway, if you've got any questions about circular fourth practice, if it's new to you or if it's something you already do, or any suggestions on way to make it effective and efficient, then let the other viewers know. Leave me a comment, hit that like button, join me every Wednesday and Saturday for jazz guitar lessons. Until next time, take care.